Welcome to Mobile Home Friend YouTube channel, your go-to resource for everything manufactured housing.
Welcome to another deep dive from Mobile Home Friend. Today we're going to be looking at stopping heat loss in your mobile home, based on our latest research at mobilehomefriend.com.
We're kicking things off with this quote from our founder, Chuck Odell, because you really need to let that sink in for a second. A small double-wide costing more to heat than a massive luxury home. That's not just a small problem. That's an absolute crisis happening right under your feet. But the good news, and this is the most important part, is that this is a totally fixable problem.
So let's get right into it. We call this problem the silent killer. And I know that sounds pretty dramatic, right? Well, it's because this issue goes way, way beyond just feeling a little chilly or having a high heating bill.
Okay, so here's the critical connection that most people completely miss. When that warm air you paid for escapes your home, it's not leaving alone. It's carrying moisture with it. And when that warm, moist air hits a cold surface, like the inside of your siding or your roof sheathing, it condenses. And that condensation, that's the real enemy. That's what starts the rot, the mold, and can lead to serious structural damage. This isn't just about comfort, it's about protecting the very bones of your home.
All right, to win this fight, you have to know your enemy. And in this case, the enemy is basically physics. There are two really powerful forces at work that make manufactured homes especially vulnerable to heat loss. So let's break them down.
First up is something called the stack effect. The easiest way to picture this is to think of your whole house as a giant chimney. See, hot air always wants to rise, and as it finds tiny little leaks in your ceiling and roof to escape, it creates a low-pressure zone, basically a vacuum down at the floor. And what does a vacuum do? It sucks. It's literally pulling cold winter air in from underneath your home through any little tear in the belly wrap. It's a non-stop, vicious cycle.
The second enemy is a bit sneakier. It's called thermal bridging. You can have really great insulation packed between the studs in your walls, right? But the wood studs themselves, they're terrible insulators. They act like little superhighways for heat. So the heat just bypasses all your good insulation and zips right through the wood frame to the outside.
So with these forces working against you, where do you even begin to fight back? A lot of people think windows, maybe the walls. Nope. Your number one priority always is the underbelly. This is the ground floor of the battle, and honestly, it's the part that gets ignored the most.
And here is exactly why we start there. Look at these numbers. A whopping 70%, let me say that again, 70% of your home's heat loss comes from the underbelly and the roof combined. Think about that. If you don't address these two areas first, anything else you do is just a drop in the bucket. You have to seal the bottom and the top of the box before you worry about the sides.
So how do you know if your underbelly is compromised? Well, here's the quick checklist. You got to get out there and take a look. Are you seeing any of this? Is that belly wrap sagging down or all shredded? Can you feel cold drafts coming up from the floor? Any signs of animals making a home in there? These are all giant, waving red flags telling you that your home's primary defense has failed.
So what's the fix? Well, the traditional method, and it's a good one, is to replace the old fiberglass and put up a fresh belly wrap. But if you really want the 2026 gold standard, the ultimate solution, it's closed-cell spray foam. This stuff is a total game changer. It's not just insulation, it creates a single, solid, rigid barrier that air, moisture, and pests simply cannot get through.
And get this, there's an incredible side benefit. As we've noted on the site, because closed-cell foam cures rock hard, it actually bonds to your floor joists and adds structural strength to the entire floor system. It can reduce squeaks and flax. So you're insulating and getting a structural upgrade all in one.
Okay, once you've sealed the bottom of the home, your next target is the top. This is the other half of shutting down that chimney-like stack effect. We've plugged the bottom, now we have to cap the top.
Now, the strategy for the roof is very specific. You need to use blown-in, loose-fill fiberglass. And listen, this part is absolutely critical. Never use cellulose insulation in a mobile home roof. It's basically paper and it acts like a sponge for moisture. It gets heavy, it clumps up, and it can seriously compromise the lightweight trusses in your roof. Then you have to seal the marriage line on a double wide and finish it off with a good reflective roof coating. Those steps are non-negotiable.
And that brings us to another perfect quote from Chuck. Without an airtight seal, insulation is just a filter for the wind. You can pack R60 insulation up there, but if you have air leaks, all you're doing is filtering the cold air as it blows right through your house. Air sealing is paramount. It's even more important than the R value itself.
Okay, with the floor and the ceiling completely sealed, now and only now can we finally turn our attention to the walls.
This is the last piece of the puzzle, creating that complete thermal shield all the way around your home.
You've got two great options here. If you're working with your existing walls, injection foam is fantastic. It flows into every little nook and cranny. But if you're ever planning on replacing your siding, that is the golden opportunity. That's when you can wrap the entire outside of your home in a layer of rigid foam board. This creates a thermal break, and it's how you finally defeat that thermal bridging problem for good.
And just look at the difference this can make. A typical mobile home wall from the 70s might have an R value of 3, maybe. A proper wall retrofit can take that all the way up to an R15. That is a 5-fold increase. It's an absolute game changer for your comfort and your energy bills. Okay, we've gone through a lot of science and solutions. Now, let's put it all together. Let's make this an actionable plan with some real-world costs so you can actually move forward.
Here it is, your step-by-step checklist, and the order here is incredibly important. Don't jump to insulating the roof if your underbelly is a mess. Start with an audit to find the leaks. Then, fix the underbelly and seal your HVAC ducts. After that, you blow the roof, fortify the walls, and finish up with that reflective coating. Follow these steps, in this order.
And what's the big reward for all this work? Well, it boils down to this number. You can cut your energy bills by up to 30%. That's not a one-time thing. That's savings you're going to see month after month, year after year. We've seen case studies of this on the Mobile Home Friend website, and the results are consistently amazing.
We believe in being totally transparent, so here are the hard numbers you can expect for professional installation in 2026. You can see the attic insulation has the quickest payback, which is awesome. But look at the underbelly with spray foam. Yes, it costs more up front, but it provides a comprehensive, permanent solution that solves multiple problems at once.
Now, these numbers are for hiring the pros, but we know a ton of you are DIYers, so for the complete technical guide, including what the materials will cost if you do it yourself, you have to check out the full post over on mobilehomefriend.com. We've laid out everything for you.
So, the main takeaway today is this. This is about so much more than just saving money on utilities. A properly insulated home is just a better home. It's quieter, it's way more comfortable, and you are protecting the long-term value of your biggest asset.
So we'll just leave you with this question to think about. Right now, is your home's thermal envelope an asset protector? Or is it a silent financial drain slowly working against you? Thanks for watching. For more guides and the full article on this topic, head over to mobilehomefriend.com. Don't forget to check the links in the description below.
Thanks for watching. For more technical guides on this topic, click the link to see the in-depth article over at mobilehomefriend.com. There are many more informational dives into manufactured home topics to investigate and keep your project moving forward.